As we come to step 9, it is essentially, putting all the sub-assembly onto the carpet floor and also the radio officer's office. And one of the main, two of the main components of this step is part it's part P6 and also part O1, which is the part of the bomb bay. And this P6 is supposed to go on top of the bomb bay. So I'm gonna, glue these two parts together first. And then I'll clean off the edge after this part had glued together. Whenever I'm using this extra thin type of glue, I never worry about the glue, covering the surface of the parts. As long as you don't touch it and leave it to dry by itself, usually it won't show after it's dry. So I just apply the glue on the surface of where the two parts meets and leave it to dry. Okay, this sub-assembly is dry, so I'm gonna clean up the joint line and also the edge of the parts. And I'll do this off camera and I'll come back to show you the result. Okay, now I have these parts all sand and cleaned up. There's also a piece of floor extension here, and it's also part of the bomb bay, which is this part here. It's part number N1. And according to step 12, this part should actually comes here, and it should be a flush joint. So since as you can see, the two location pin is actually not there, so it's very important that when we join this, we have a very clean and flat joint against each other. So I have already sand this edge flat. I think this edge here of this part also need to sand to a right angle so that the joint can be flush and flat like this. Okay, after studying the instruction, what I found is actually these two parts will also help secure or the flatness of the joint of this two bomb bay floor, and it's M1 and M5. These parts goes onto the side of the bomb bay. By gluing these two parts against the edge of these two M1 and M5, you can ensure the right flatness of the bomb bay and can have a stronger joint. So I'm gonna clean up these two parts and then join all these parts together before putting all the details onto the interior floor. Okay, now you can see that this edge has been cleaned up by sanding. Also, this one has been cleaned up. Then it's time to join these pieces together. First of all, I'll join the two floor pieces together. Okay, now the joint of the two pieces is almost dried, and it's time to fit this side panel to the floor, and this will ensure the floor flat. Okay, now I glue this side panel onto the Bombay floor, and I will let it dry completely now before I put the other side on. Here guys, I have found a new brand of glue from this company called Goodsmile Racing. This company is actually very famous for making collectors animate figures, and this is a extra strong or strong cement, and here in fine print it says glue for plow model. So I'm gonna try this. This big can of cement contains like 500 mils. A bottle of Tamiya extra thin cement contains 40 mils. So there are like 12 bottles worth of Tamiya cement in this big can. So I guess this is more economy if you compare the price with the extra thin. And I'm gonna decant this into this empty bottle. Okay, now I have this new cement, and I'm gonna try it now on these part here. It evaporates really fast. I think it dries a little bit faster than the extra thin. Well, it actually dries quite fast to a very strong joint. Okay, I'll let it cure completely, and then we'll come back and have a look at the joint. Here's how the cockpit looks like with just the kids parts, and some of the parts are not glued on yet because I need to take them off for painting. And if I take this part off and put in the side panel here, and that's how it looks like. Goes with the instrument panel in place. Anyways, for me, it looks good enough for me. Of course, you can go wild with super detailing, but like I said, for me, this particular time, I'm just going to build it out of the box. Okay, here is the front part of the interior with all the parts from the kits installed. And here is a look from the other side. So actually it's quite detailed. Of course it can always be improved and super detailed, but I think this is quite nice. And then next we come to step 10, and most of the parts from for step 10 comes from the W sprue. Here I have the W sprue, and I'm gonna cut all the required parts out from the sprue. 2 armor boxes. Two large parts here. And then W8 and W10, these two here are W8. And then W10. And then we have W.III. So I have all the parts here, and then I'm gonna clean them up, and then the whatever needs to be put into sub-assembly, I will do so. And I'll do this off camera, and I'll come back to show you. Okay, I have all the parts of step 10 assembled, and if you take a closer look at some of the parts, the joint is actually quite good. The parts are pretty nicely made. So I will come back after putting all this part onto the interior floor. Okay, I have complete step 10, and I also glue the parts onto the floor because I think I can paint with the parts glue on. So I glue them all on, and as you can see, the armor box here, the joint line are quite nice, and the only 2 things I haven't glue on are these 2 poles, which I think I will paint them separately. And after completing step 10, I'm going to finish step 11, sorry. When we come to step 11, 3 main component is part M12, part M17, and this is part M20. Particularly need to pay attention is the part M12, because there are some ejection marks there, and you can see that after a light sanding, I can get rid of all these ejection marks, so it has a perfect flat surface now. And I'm going to complete step 11 now with all the other parts, and I'll come back to show you that. Okay, now I have the whole interior floor done. So I even put in the armor bell and have step 12 complete. Now some of the parts, some of the components was left out for painting. After they are painted, I will then glue them on. I'm not sure you can see it, and I'm not sure if it will be seen after the fuselage put together. The part itself is pretty thick, So I thin down the inside of the parts and give it a bit more scale thickness. I've also done the same with this part. Okay, that concludes this part of the video build of the Lancaster Dambuster from Hong Kong model. And next time I come back, I will start doing the two sides of the fuselage and the mating of the nose of the fuselage to the main body. And then I will also come back to show you, the result of the instrument panel, how the dials turn out. And so, thank you for watching, and hope to see you soon with part 4.